we are in the state of Connecticut, and Martin indicated that one of our goals in the partnership with Simsbury Bank is about helping lead and energize an economic growth, prosperous moment for the state of Connecticut. In my time at UConn, I've been struck by how many people there are who are actively anxious to help companies grow, businesses grow, and that's the theme today. And one of the things that strikes me about this panel is that, I think with the exception of Wendy, they've all known each other for a while. They work together. And one of the things that we benefit from as companies that are growing and prospering in the state is a lot of access to talented people who can help us find the right answer to the next question. And in a way, I think that's what we're going to try to do with you today. Let me start with Ann now.
Okay, so we're starting with the person who does international business, and I'm not sure a lot of you are companies that actually can do that. I know Olaf does, and he's come on trade missions with us. But a family business or any business may not be at their core business exporters, but I was just thinking, how did I get here? Well, 40 years ago, I was a fundraiser for the Republican Party in Washington, and my dad got sick. And I ended up running the largest passenger tire retreading plant in the Northeast at 22 years old. Now, I got to tell you, I was really lucky that I had grown up in a family business, so I really did know a lot about retreading because my father and grandfather forced me into it. And I hated the job. I hated it. I hated it more than I could possibly hate anything. But what I saw was an opportunity. And I ended up selling it to Goodyear. But I saw an opportunity for recycling of tires. And became one of the largest tire recyclers here in the U.S., and then was asked by foreign governments to build plants overseas. So being in an industry, I saw something else in my industry. I mean, I was never going to be exporting my retreads from Middletown, Connecticut. But I saw an opportunity. And many of you folks are in industries where you may see an international opportunity from what you're already doing. It's usually manufacturers that can export, some service providers that might have opportunities overseas. But by and large, what I've learned, and I learned from my grandfather, who at 80-something, when he saw me looking at a pile of scrap tires where the Middletown mayor said, no more in the landfill in 1978, he said, whoever figures that out is going to make a lot of money. And it brought me here 11 years ago, where I was asked to do this job for 1 year because I had taken a family business global, and I'm still around. But what we do in our office in Middletown is we have trade specialists, and we work with companies in our region. We work with about 5,000 companies in southern New England, and we help them export. And it's usually the first step we do is really qualify their product. Is it exportable? Do they have something that's needed overseas? And that's the first step, and we work with the Small Business Development Center to help us with that, as some of the SBA folks help us with that too. But it's really starting off with qualifying the product and then looking if there is opportunities, and from there we can help you match make those opportunities, look at the certifications and regulations you may need to export. So that's pretty much what we do. We're kind of a full-service export office. We also are at the state trade office. The state has us doing that. They have put some contractors in our office. So by and large, we are the first step global. And if your company, if you feel that you have something that's exportable, that's unique, that's not made somewhere else, and that you've pretty much exhausted your domestic market, we're the people to come to.
Bill's here also representing the government, but a different piece of it. And tell us about the SBA and how you all help growing companies in Connecticut.
Well, SBA is a guarantor of loans. There's no direct funding through the SBA. I'm a lender relations specialist. I've been with the agency just about 32 years. SBA basically has two buckets: disaster assistance and our regular 7A guaranteed loan program. I started out in our disaster assistance loan program, helping folks in New Jersey bail out from a disaster, flooding disaster. My first day on the job, I was in a rowboat literally helping people out of their homes and bringing them to shore. The other bucket is our SBA loan guaranteed program, where we guarantee loans to banks. And part of my position in the SBA is to provide lenders with the training and the expertise to know how to utilize these programs to provide access to capital to small business owners. We do international trade, we do disaster assistance, as I said, which are low-interest loans. Our 7A loan program is our flagship program where we lend up to $5 million with a 75% guarantee. We also have what we call an express loan program, not to be confused with the state's express loan program, which provides capital up to $350,000 in either a revolving line of credit or in a term loan. We also have what we call our 504 loan program, where the bank makes a loan for 50% of the project. SBA comes in the second mortgage position for 40% of the project, and you, the small business owner, your capital injection is 10%. No spouses, no guarantees other than the small business owners who own the business. They're 20-year debentures, or now we just increased it to 25. So these are, brick and mortar type of operations that we're financing, or machinery type loans where they're financed up to 10 years or 20-year debentures, which are sold in the secondary market. So we have various loan programs. We also provide counseling, and we also provide contract training so that you can do business with the government, because 90% of all goods and services are purchased or sold by the U.S. government. So we have a lot of different programs and a lot of access to capital for small business owners. We work with several different partners, that being SCORE, the Small Business Development Center, and the Women's Business Centers, which are all great partners of ours and support our services, and they're all experts in what they do. Our SCORE partners are volunteers who are former men and women business owners who volunteer their time to help folks such as yourselves who are small business owners, either nascent or existing owners, to get to the next level and get that access to capital, make sure they cross the right bridges and not make the same mistakes they had made.
Thank you, Bill. Let me turn to Joe next. As an executive at Simsbury, you're dealing with the people who need the money. He's going to guarantee some of them, but there's a whole ecosystem here of people who are going to help companies prepare for and come to you for loans. What's your role? How do you interact in this ecosystem with all of these other players? And what do they do to help make your lives easier and the company's lives easier?
Thank you. I'm Joe Raycraft with Simsbury Bank. I've been in commercial lending for about 20 years. Have a lot of experience working with a number of different government guarantee type programs, and specific with family businesses, but also with family businesses that operate internationally. And I think I'll probably sound a little bit like a broken record up here, like a typical banker, but I think that my emphasis would be planning, business planning. When you're looking to do an expansion, you need to update that business plan and understand what you're trying to achieve. What are your goals? What do you want to do here domestically? What do you want to do internationally? And then once we understand the goals, then we can bring in the other experts, whether it's the SBA or the U.S. Commerce or USDA or some other organization. I think one of the takeaways that each of us probably want you to take away today is that there's a lot of advisors available, a lot of value-added people that can help with any type of expansion, again, domestic or international. And in my role at Simsbury Bank, I try to, counsel family businesses and provide them with, the financing tools that they need to be successful, whether it be short-term lines of credit, term loans for equipment expansion, or mortgages for longer-term real estate purchases. And I think, the other lenders at Simsbury Bank and the other relationship managers are very much committed to family business and small business and helping you execute your plan. So I would look at us as an advisor to this kind of ecosystem, and we can, hopefully plug you into the different, the important people that you need to talk to.
As for the USDA, my particular hat is exclusively rural development. I get a lot of calls for livestock and crops and stuff like that, but I refer those all over to our Farm Services Agency. Me personally, I have about a 35-year commercial lending / I actually sat on both sides of the desk. I was the CFO at a third-party logistics company for a while as well, so I can certainly appreciate a lot of the concerns that you have on the business side after having sat on that side of the desk as well. So, but me personally at the USDA, rural development, I do a lot of the stuff that Bill at the end of the table does for his clients like Joe, guarantee loans and things like that. Only we focus more so on the rural side as opposed to like an urban type of an application.
And Wendy, if we're thinking about these companies that are ready to grow and all of these people who are ready to help them, what particular problems do family businesses have as they contemplate the growth, and where are the challenges?
So as your resident psychologist on the panel, I often get a reaction when I walk into the room like, here comes the shrink, get ready. I would say my take and my takeaway for all of you in the room is similar to what Joe was saying. Understand what your goals are and your business planning, but my work actually occurs a little bit before that in working with the family owners and making sure that they're aligned in their values and making sure that that business plan that you're projecting out gels well with the values and the vision and the purpose and your personal philosophy of management and where the family business is going. Because as a psychologist working in this business and working with family businesses, and both in the field and in my research on leadership and philanthropy, I also do research on integrated philanthropy, there's a real issue when communication breaks down. I've seen it happen. And so that's one of the issues that you need to focus on as you're working on that business plan, as Joe stated. What are your emotional assets? What are your social assets? The human capital that you need to be assessing, and not only the family, but the business and the ownership circles. It's really critical to continuity and succession planning.